Well, Mr. Saleh, we are into our, I don't know how many weeks. I've lost count of, I don't even know what day it is.
It doesn't matter.
This isolation is like a time warp.
But you know the whole idea of not knowing what day it is and waking up whenever you feel like it. That's just being a comedian.
Well, yeah,
Isn't it?
essentially. Everyone's getting an insight into what a comedian's life is.
It's like being a comedian with a virus.
Yes.
That's all it is. It's like a comedian's life, but there's virus and there's restrictions and less toilet paper.
Less toilet paper. Although toilet paper's starting to fill up. I noticed it was amazing. It was like the Great Wall of China of just rolls of sorbent. That was incredible.
That's how they built the Great Wall.
Yes.
Until it rained. I thought maybe we should use stone. It's a funny thing, before this virus hits, my friends were saying you should invest in toilet paper. I said, come on, you stupid. Toilet paper, what? And now who's laughing?
Now who's laughing?
That didn't happen.
No.
But it's a strange time. It's a strange time to be alive. No one expected this. But I feel secure in our leaders. Like Donald Trump, the leader of the free world, said, drink bleach.
Yeah, I saw that.
Drink bleach or injected.
And he said, get a lot of UV light.
UV light.
So that's great. We'll get rid of the virus, but we'll get melanomas.
We'll end up looking like him.
Yeah.
Because he goes into the UV thing, the orange thing. But it's a funny thing when people say, I'm not a doctor, but maybe try this.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe, I'm not a doctor, but maybe, insert something sharp into your eyeball. It'll hurt a bit, but it may cure coronavirus.
It may, but just putting it out there. It may.
We don't know.
It's a good enough shot. I like how he was looking after her to the doctor, and she's just like, I don't know this guy.
Can you imagine being his advisors? Like he's the health professional?
I was wondering about it during the week. Like, does he... Like he's clearly not listening to his advisors, right? Because would he say that during the briefing?
Of course not.
Because there are script writers and people that work behind the scenes.
They would have had
politicians.
meetings and said, "Look, Mr. President, this is what you need to say to assure the public and to show leadership." And see, he goes on. They're all in the back room, and they go, "Maybe you can drink bleach." And you just see them go, "What the fuck did he just say? Did he just drink bleach? I can't believe that."
Is this guy in charge? Yeah. Okay.
Drink bleach or brake fluid.
Yeah.
Drink brake fluid will help because when I drink brake fluid, it really clears up the sinuses.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. And the funny thing is, I mean, as absurd as it sounds. The sale of bleach and
skyrocketed
in America. Yeah,
wow,
it's skyrocketed.
That reminds me of back in the 90s. Remember when O.J. Simpson had the chase and he was in the Ford? Was it the Bronco? Ford Bronco.
Yeah.
Screaming along LA's 405 freeway, and everyone saw that footage. Ford Bronco spiked with sales after that.
I want to be chased by police too.
Yeah, so it's like, what sort of vehicle do you want to drive?
Yeah.
Well, a murderer's vehicle. It's a good getaway car.
I wonder if before he murdered these people, the Bronco was it the model?
I think it was a Ford Bronco.
Ford Bronco would have rang, man. Do you mind, like if after you murder them, maybe get into one of our cars. We can get you a really good deal.
Yeah, it's like you can't buy that kind of prime time TV advertising. News.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But I liked afterwards how Trump did a total 180 and go, I was being sarcastic.
Yeah, right. I don't think he understands what sarcasm is.
No.
Because that wasn't sarcasm.
No, because if it was, it's very dry delivery.
Yeah, that's not sarcasm. No. That's just being a fuckwit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think from, you look at Como in New York and what he talks about. It's like, all right, I'm going to listen to this guy. But then there's other politicians that are just totally the difference. Like in Las Vegas, did you see that earlier in the week with the mayor of Las Vegas said Mayor Goodman. She was saying how everyone should be going back to work. The casinos should open up again.
Yeah.
And then with this interview on CNN, he's like, hang on, but this is going against what the regulations are. This is going to spread more of the disease if everyone's going back. She goes, no, but the economy is the most important. He's like, hang on, health is most important. Then the governor of Nevada comes on and says, I don't associate with what she's saying. No. I'm saying exactly the opposite. And he was actually probably one of the most intelligent that I've heard talk over there. He said, I'm putting my faith and my my decisions in the hands of the doctors and the scientists.
Yes.
Whatever they're telling, that's what I'm going to follow.
Yes.
And I thought, well,
and don't drink bleach.
Don't drink bleach.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, there was Biden wrote tweeted a thing saying, "I can't believe I'm actually writing this, but please don't drink bleach." He has to actually say that.
Well, it was the same with the Plaquenil. You know, when he was hydrochloroquine, when he was saying you should take this is going to, help get rid of the virus.
Yeah.
So these people they're watching their president on TV. They look at the fish tank, and there's this hydrochloroquine that you put into the fish tank. So the guy goes, "Oh yeah," just started drinking that, straight to the hospital and died.
That's great. See, woo!
Yeah.
It's very Simpson-esque.
Yeah. And then she's going. The wife is all distraught. And
Oh yeah, no. It's a funny thing. Everyone's an expert in times of crisis.
Yeah.
Yes. Let me put my 2 cents worth.
So I think that advice: so listen to the scientists, listen to the doctors, and then figure it out from there.
And qualified doctors, not people who just say, "Well, I'm not qualified, but I'll have a go.
Yeah.
I'll look at it for you."
Yeah.
They always want to put as you know, my family. I have members of my family who just didn't bother going to university and thought it's a bit of a waste of time. I'll just give it a go. I'll learn as I go.
And they just call themselves doctors?
Yeah, and they're drinking bleach now, hopefully. Hopefully.
What about the other cure? For our friend, the preacher was back again.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see that footage when he's blowing and he goes, "I blow on you, coronavirus."
Oh.
And he said hot air blowing on that. There's a lot of hot air in what he's preaching.
If a priest is blowing on you, that could be very
that could end up in the hands of the courts.
It's in the hands of the courts now. Cardinal Pell. No, look, it's crazy. And people are desperate. When they're desperate, they're willing to believe anything.
Yeah.
And so that's why you get people who with a lot of faith in countries that are tough, where life is tough. So now life is tough all over the world. These priests, they're like parasites. They come out and just feed off the fear of the public.
Yeah.
It's terrible. I've had a terrible experience with religion.
Yes,
you can probably tell.
I know. I've read your book.
You're the one.
The thing I found most amusing, but also kind of sad, is he's saying, people can't come to the congregation, but you can still send that money in.
Oh yeah, you can still send that money
meanwhile, everyone's out of work. People aren't getting their benefit payouts.
Yeah,
and
they used to have these evangelists that if you couldn't leave your home, if you're an invalid or something, they can heal you by putting that part of the body that is ailing you, to the TV screen. So if you got venereal disease, what are you doing, darling? I'm being healed by Jesus. Oops! Now I'm gonna get the Dettol.
Now I got to sanitize it.
It's a terrible thing. But, seriously now, I think I just keep forgetting that these things happen. Like I wake up and I go, man, I haven't worked for a while. And oh yeah, that's right. It's a pandemic.
Yeah, it is a weird reminder consistently. But
I stopped watching TV because it's on repeat.
It's very repetitive.
And
but it is interesting hearing the conflicts. I saw the local government in New South Wales said, "Oh, you can go back to the beach. We've opened the beach." So everyone goes to the beach, and then they're like, "What are you doing? Don't go to the beach. You're all congregating." And so it's like all these mixed messages that have been thrown out there.
I mean, it'd be terrible if someone would be having a terrible year if, say, they get coronavirus, they recover from it, and they say, well, now you can go to the beach. They go to the beach for a swim, and they get eaten by sharks. Yeah. That would be a terrible year.
Yeah, that would be.
For that pair. Some people are just unlucky.
It's
just unlucky.
That would be.
Because, but, I don't know about you, but I miss work.
Yeah, I do too. Because what we do isn't really work. We the traveling is the work,
But even the traveling I enjoy. If it's with someone like yourself, we've traveled a lot. We've had a great time. But I think we're the very few privileged people in the community that say we love what we do. We really look forward to it. There's not a lot of people are enjoying not having to go to their factories and their offices and
I've noticed that people are a lot less stressed now too.
Yeah.
People that I've been talking to over the phone, they just sound a lot more chilled.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that just taking a step back and slowing everything down a bit, they're a lot more chilled. But for us, it's kind of the opposite.
Well, it's an addiction with us. It's the only thing that makes people... It's the only time in my life where people listen to me. when I'm on stage.
Yeah.
And every other time they shut up. So it's our identity, and it's the thing that we live for, and it's been taken away for a while. So
I know. Yeah, I never saw this coming that we would be jobless.
Yeah.
Because we have been doing this for quite some time, and I didn't. I never pictured us having to.
Look, when I left school, I was probably voted the person most likely to end up in prison or be homeless.
Yeah.
And they still may be right. There's still time for that prediction to come true. But I failed school very badly, as you know, like spectacularly. And I didn't even show up to half the exams because I couldn't sit. I don't know if you remember the HSC when I'm old now, so in the 80s. It was
out of 500?
It was out of 500.
It was.
And the exams were like 5 hours and you couldn't leave. And I'd wake up late and I'd go, 5 hours? Look, I'm going to fail anyway.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go to Macca's and watch a movie in Hoyt
So
Cinemas.
you would bludge your exams?
Yeah. I only went to half. And the half that I did go to, I just bullshitted. Because I had like art history, and I just sat 5 hours, man. I know I didn't know anything because I didn't study anything.
Yeah.
And you have to ask about, Georgian architecture in the 12th century or whatever it was. I'm just bullshitting now. I'm still bullshitting. And so I couldn't.
Would you bullshit in your essays?
Yeah. I read just nonsense that came into my head.
See, I used to do the same thing, especially in art essays, but I always had buzzwords that I would put in there to make the grader think I knew what I was talking about.
And how did that work out?
It actually worked because when you would get them back and I'd have big red ticks next to it and I would say and if you are ever in a situation at an art gallery or at a dinner where they're talking about art, I found if you say it's simply articulated, it evokes a sense of, it's finely rendered.
The lines are very well defined.
You just throw in those kind of buzzwords. He knows what he's talking about.
I've made a living out of bullshit. Just bullshitting. People go, wow, he's smart. but I couldn't fake it at school. And so when I left school, I had no prospect of anything. What?
Did you not go to university for a short while?
Yes, I went to university a couple of times.
Yes.
This back then it was free.
Yeah.
So you could just, I wasn't really registered. I was just loitering.
Right.
Just using their toilets.
You went to Nepean?
I went to Nepean College, yeah.
Yes.
I auditioned for the performing arts course and I got in.
Yes.
So I thought, I got in. I wasn't expecting to get in.
Other luminaries that were at the college were...
Yes, there were a few, in my year there was David Wenham.
Yes.
You may have heard of him.
Acclaimed Australian actor, yes. One of our finest.
One of our finest, yes. And the Umbilical Brothers went there. And
Shane and Dave.
Yep, and I think that's it.
That was it.
Everyone else is working at Bunnings. Bad luck.
Now you kind of treated that like school too. You started bludging while going to...
Yeah, I liked the practical side of it because it was fun, like it was like improvising and there was acting and there was movement classes and they showed you how to breathe properly. I've been doing it wrong for years and years. And but then you had to kind of submit written work. And I go, wait,
homework.
No. And so I got kicked out.
They asked you to leave?
They asked me to leave very politely. They were very nice about it.
Yes.
They said, we don't require your services any longer here. Thank you very much for coming. And this guy said to me, you have no talent.
Yes.
The head of the school, because he said, what do you want to achieve? You want to be an actor? And I said, I'd love to be a comedian, or a comic actor. He goes, man, this is true, right? This is how in a political correctness hadn't really...
caught on,
and he's going, look, someone of your color, you have to work twice as hard and you'll get half the work. So you got to keep that in mind.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you showed him.
I showed him, yeah. He's dead now, so hopefully. I don't know. Hello, Bob, if you're listening.
Now, you signed up with an acting and commercial agent.
Yes.
And you were sent out on numerous auditions.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
Now, there's one in particular. I remember refresh my memory. You told me one years ago, and I remember...
This is not... this is kind of much later when I started doing comedy. I was with an agency called... they were in North Sydney. What are they called? Richard Carter was... Anyway, it doesn't matter. they were really reputable and had Kylie Minogue on their books and other people like that. And I was really, happy to get. But then they'd send me to stuff that I just didn't. I'd ring them up and say, "There's no work," and we'll say, "Well, we're looking for you, but someone, you're a short, dark person." And we just we can't put you on Neighbours. We can't put you on Home and Away. You can't put you, maybe Australia's Most Wanted, but your face is going to be covered, And finally, she rang me up and she said, "I've got an audition for you. It's 10 grand's worth, and 10 grand back in the 90s, man. That's sure. Like." And I thought, "Yeah, what is it?" And this is an ANZ ad for ANZ Bank. And I said, are you sure I'm right for this? Because they sent me previously to other things that I was clearly not right for. And she said, the instructions, they want a black person. I said, well, I'm not really black. I'm kind of beige, and a black person like, African-American type, or African. And she said, no, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. I'm sure you're suited for this. You'll nail this. And I went to the audition room. Every single person was like 6'4", black, with afro hair, and I'm this little short guy with a pot belly. I'm balding, curly hair, and short, and I'll never forget this. I'm sitting in between these two giants on either side of me, big black guys. They say, "Man, you're an actor?" I said, "Yeah, I'm an actor. Yeah. You going for this? What role are you going for?" I said, I'm not really sure. I don't know what role. Is there a script? And he goes, "No, I don't think so, no." And anyway, finally they call me. And the woman, there's just one woman with a camera. She's got these glasses and chains. And she looks at me through her glasses and she says, are you Peter Saleh? Because I used to use the name Peter Saleh. Yeah. So people don't realize I'm ethnic. And I said, "Yeah." And then she goes, "Okay, then." She looked disappointed from the start, like, this is a waste of my time. And she goes, "Okay, let's see you do the backflip." I said, "Sorry?" It was in the requirements. You had to do a backflip. Yeah. I said, "No, I didn't. I wasn't told that. I can't do a backflip. But I can do a cartwheel." And then she looks at me and she goes, "Well, I suppose that I'll have to do." So this is the absolute truth. I was so pissed off. I did a cartwheel, and as in one move, I did the cartwheel and walked out of the audition room.
Straight out the door.
Straight out the door in one move. And then I called the agent and I sacked them. Because, I don't care. Who was I to sack my agent? I was a nobody. I said, "You're sacked." And they went, "Oh, okay. No worries. See ya." And it was like, oh, man, it was terrible. And, but did you, when you started, you didn't want to be a comedian straight away, yeah?
Well, no. From when I was 12 years old, when I saw The Amazing Jonathan for the first time, that was. But it's a big difference between going, "That's what I want to do when I grow up," and actually doing it.
Yeah, so a lot of hurdles between there.
A lot of hurdles as a 12-year-old kid. Yes. But my first job actually was, I was still a teenager, still at school.
Yes.
I was working at McDonald's.
Oh, yes. And that's a common one.
Yes.
We've all done that.
Yeah. Did you work at McDonald's?
I did.
You did too?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. How old were you?
I was probably 18.
18. Yeah. So you worked there out when you left school?
Yeah, opposite the Hoyts there.
Oh, yeah, on George Street.
Yeah.
I was just up the road from there in at Centrepoint.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just basically a group of misfits. They just hire school kids to work there because it's cheap labor.
It's slave
labor.
labor.
I think we're on not even $4 an hour. This is back in the 90s, but it was pretty pathetic. But the amount of injuries that happened in that McDonald's was ridiculous.
Really?
Like there would be, like the oil vat that you put the chips in.
Oh, yeah.
This guy's just walking along and he trips and puts his arms out to break the fall straight into the oil vat, both arms.
You saw that?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, Troy Nichols was his name.
Hey,
and
where's your iPhone then? Huh? If only.
Yeah.
That'd get a lot of hits.
But he came out and there's these two red rings around each arm and he's just screaming with this oil dripping off of his hand.
Yeah.
And so there was this spray that was always used whenever there was an injury and you'd spray it on there. It was meant to, fix up the burns. But this guy, he didn't return. No, he did not return. I bet
you as he was burning, as his arms were burning, some selfish fat pricks go, come on, hey, where's my Big Mac?
Yeah, where are the fries?
Yeah, I know he's
I know,
American
but no, do I.
suddenly.
But he's there was another guy that was because at the end of each day we had to do the cleaning of everything, and it was
Yes.
called stainless. That's who's on stainless duty. Yeah, I am. So you had to clean the top of the grill, the top part of the grill, and spray it and clean. And then there was the vent on top, so you had to climb over the grill and clean the top of it.
And this is before coronavirus.
This was before Corona.
I-
so
that's-
you had
that's
to.
a- you had a
McDonald's was
different
a
standards.
hygienically clean place.
Yeah, yeah.
And so he gets up there, this other young guy working there. And I remember I was on the other side cleaning where the fish fillets were made.
Oh, yeah.
And I could just smell this kind of burning smell. And I turned. His shoe he had left on top of the grill as it was on top the problem, and the whole bottom of the Doc Martin had just bubbled up all over the top of the grill,
yeah.
just bubbling and grilling on top of the grill.
yeah.
So his whole shoe.
Well, at
was
least he had a
just
Doc Martin. If he had like a Reebok or something,
Yeah, well,
he
it would have been in real trouble.
His soles
Yeah.
would have been burnt.
Yeah.
I have burnt my soul
Yes.
in McDonald's.
There was another one of a guy because there was the Big Mac buns. You'll remember this. There was three
yeah.
different levels to the
Oh yeah,
Big Mac
12
bun.
beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles,
Onions
onions,
on a sesame seed
seed
bun.
bun.
Yes.
Yes, or cancer in a bun.
Yeah. So there was
Yeah.
three different levels to the
I remember. Yeah.
to the grill, and you had and so you had a heap on one pan, and so you had to put the tray in, get that out, and it was. You'd clamp it down this grill.
Yeah.
That was you'd basically toast it by grilling the.
Yes, I'm familiar
grilling
with
the buns.
grilling. Yes.
So he lifts it up, gets them out, and on the bottom one he wedges it in, and the back bun got wedged in the corner.
Yeah.
So you had to wear these plastic gloves, right? So he puts one hand in to get it out, and it was just get it, and then he put the other hand in to get it out. The whole fucking thing falls down on him and clamps both of his arms in there, and he's just screaming. And then we had to send him off to the emergency as well.
What was about your what was it about your McDonald's?
You know what the irony is?
Yeah.
We got McDonald's of the year.
Oh yeah.
At the end of that year, with all of these misfit,
Yeah.
employees, and we got McDonald's of the year. It was
That's
incredible.
fantastic. Yeah, McDonald's. So you can imagine how bad the others were.
Yeah.
You won with all that. You won. Then the other ones just blew up and.
They were so lax back in those days. I would go to the Strand Arcade because I used to go to school in the city, and I would walk past there and walk in there. And one of the guys I'd kind of known from the Strand Arcade, and I would order my breakfast. And he goes, "Oh, you can make it if you want." So in my school uniform, I'd go around the back and just make my own breakfast, adding in extra eggs and making like a mega breakfast.
It's fantastic. I tried that once. The police were called.
Yes.
Look, my first job ever was a weird one. It was this American entrepreneur had come in and wanted to introduce this to Australia. I'm guessing it was big in America, but it was ice cream, selling ice cream on a bike, but the bike was also a fridge.
Oh
was
yeah, I
huge-
remember. Yeah,
Remember those?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, and he used to give anyone who just asked for a job, he'd give him one, and basically you got a percentage of what you sold.
Right.
So if you sold 100 ice creams, you'd get whatever 10% of that, and it was really hard to ride that bike, man, because my legs are short, they don't quite reach, so it looked really funny, and I couldn't maneuver it. Because you're basically riding a fridge, right?
A fridge with wheels.
And you go uphill, and I'm going, oh, what am I doing here? And I sold 2 ice creams, and I ate 7. I ate 7 ice creams because it was so hot. There was this thing called triple treat.
Oh, yeah, I remember them.
Triple
I
Treat
remember
with
triple
marshmallow?
treat. Yes.
I ate 7 of those in one day, and then I only sold 2, so I didn't have the money to give the guy.
Oh,
so
man.
you know what I did? I just abandoned the bike and caught the train home.
You did.
Yeah.
With the fridge.
I left the fridge in York Street. I'll never forget that.
And what did you tell the employer?
I didn't tell him anything.
Really?
Well, he didn't. This is before mobile phones, or he didn't even check who I was or anything. He just trusted me. Oh, silly man! I just went. I thought, fuck this. I haven't made any money. I feel sick because I've eaten 7 triple treats.
Yes.
That's like, and I felt ill. Got home on the train and went back to my home.
Oh, that's great.
With less money than I started with after about 7 hours of work.
I remember you've had numerous jobs. But you once sold pens in the city.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me
No,
when
that
you were a
wasn't
school
pens.
kid. Were you selling buttons or pens?
No, it was drawings.
Oh, was it? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
for disabled people. You
Yeah.
know, it was the house with no steps. And what you did, you went out and you sold
Yeah.
the drawings. I'll never forget it. It's like 20 cents to $2. And, the bigger ones were $2. And any money you made, they gave you 30%. And the rest, the 70%, went to people who are disabled.
Sure.
But after a while, I discovered that I didn't have to give the money back to the disabled. I could just keep the whole lot. And no one really cared because I had those books with me. They didn't have any record of who I am or anything. And I just thought and they didn't ask for it back. And I was making 100% going up to people.
So you ripped off disabled people?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I did. I'd go up and say, "Excuse me, would you like to help the disabled people by the house with no steps by buying one of these drawings?" And they'd go, "Oh yeah, that's great." And then sometimes they'd ask, "Are you getting a commission?" I'd say, "No, of course not." And so that was terrible. But I felt.
On one occasion, though, you sold a lot.
Yes.
And you made your way up William Street.
Uh-oh. You know this story. You think I should share this story?
Why not?
It's embarrassing.
Well, I find it very amusing.
I actually was very young. I was 14. So I was still at school then. This was a slightly different job, but it was a similar sort of thing.
All right, yeah.
Every Saturday morning, they tell you where they're going to meet.
Right.
And then they have a map of the area, and then they give everyone these drawings, and you go and collect, and then you bring back the money, and they give you the 30% of whatever you made.
Okay.
I was very good at it, by the way. I was 14. I was really naive, and somehow I used to just not stick to the map that they gave me. I used to just go, I'll go anywhere. And I ended up in King's Cross. And I was 14, and I was an altar boy, the Coptic Orthodox Church.
Yes.
And I went to an all-boys school, and suddenly I'm in Sin City, and I'm knocking on these brothels, not knowing that they're brothels, and saying, "Hi, would you like to help the disabled people by buying one of their drawings?" And these women were coming out with like lingerie and really sexy clothing, and they smelled nice. They smelled good. And I'm like, "Oh, what's this?" And then the next place was exactly the same.
Were you in a uniform?
No.
Oh, okay. So
No. It was Saturday. It was Saturday.
Oh,
I wasn't in the uniform, but I was 14. I probably looked older back then. When it was like, and then finally I asked one of the girls after several of these brothels opened up and gave me money, and I said, what is this? Do you work here? Or she goes, yeah. Do you know what this is? And I said, no. She goes, oh well, it's a brothel. Basically, if you give me $20, you can have sex with me.
$20?
Yeah. I was 14, man. 78, 79.
But even that, it's $20.
Yeah. That's what was quite a bit, man. My mum worked for a month and made $60. Not a month, sorry. No, a week.
Right.
She made $60 a week, right? And back then, and that was enough to feed families and stuff.
Right.
So $20, and I went, oh, okay. I don't have $20, but I might have, in a few hours. And I went and worked so hard, man. I worked so hard selling to hi, would you like to help the disabled people? And people will go, yeah, as a kid, doing that. Good on you for doing that. That's very nice of you. Just spending your Saturday morning helping the disabled. Thank you. Yeah, and I'm just shut up. I'm thinking about this. I got really excited, And finally I had the $20. Mm-hmm. And don't forget, I don't get the $20. I have to give them 70% of that. But I took, as soon as I had $20 in my Hessian bag, I went back to that girl and I said, hi, I've got $20 here. And she says, oh, okay, come in. So I'm in, and this is before I was a virgin. And not only was I a virgin.
You were 14, yeah.
I was 14, but I didn't discover that little magic thing that men discover.
Right. So you had no idea what was awaiting you.
I didn't know. I had not.
Wow.
I had not, only in like wet dreams, but I didn't know how the whole mechanism
how
worked.
it happened.
There's no instruction book.
I like how you call it the mechanism.
Yeah. But I figured it out soon after that. So I was really just excited. And
were you nervous at all?
Yeah. I was really nervous. I thought this is going to be. I had no idea what to expect.
Right.
Like I didn't even know these things existed. These bordellos on. And then so she takes me into the room, closes the door, and she says, okay, that's $20. So I pour the money out, and this is back when you had 1 and 2 cent coins, and this is all coins, right? So she had to sit there and count till she made $20, and then she gave me back like 15 cents back. And she goes, "That's," and she goes, "Okay, I'm going to have a shower." So I had to have a shower, and then and it happened really, really quickly.
Yeah.
And then I felt this enormous guilt. Oh my God, what have I done? That's really bad, because I was a Coptic Orthodox.
Yeah, sure.
And they don't
that
like
goes with
sex.
the territory.
They don't like. They don't even like nudity. They just if you're gonna have a shower, keep your undies on. No one. God doesn't need to see your pee-pee. And so,
did you tell anyone about this?
Yeah. I was devastated for a while. I felt really bad, and I went and told Abuna, which is the priest, because you have to confess all your sins. Otherwise, you go to hell for eternity. God's very loving like that. He gives you, And so I went and told this Abuna Musa, big guy, big nasty guy, just evil, and I went to see him, and he was like, it's always an inconvenience, he's so busy. And I sat with him. I said, I did this, and he goes, well, what do you want me to do now? I said,
He's asking you.
Yeah. I said, well, I just feel bad that I did that.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, what do you expect? This is what happens when you don't listen to us. Then he looked at his watch, got up and just left. And I'm sitting there going, oh no.
Wow.
It's a terrible thing, yeah. They're very loving people. Jesus, they love Jesus, and Jesus loves you, just we think you're a fuckwit. That saying? But it was a strange story too.
Yeah. Did you tell any of your parents or any of your friends at school or anything?
No. I was deeply embarrassed and ashamed. And then I had to, on top of that, I was feeling bad, but I had to go out and make the money that I just spent. So
to make up for it.
Yeah. And $20. So
Did you tell the priest that you had spent the money from the
I left that out for some reason. I did. He was, he wasn't easy to talk to at the best of times.
Yeah.
But I was not going to say that. That's another sin. That's for another day.
But did he not give you anything to repent, to say, look, if you do this, your sins will be forgiven? Because I remember I had to go to confession in Catholic church when I was growing up. And
did you?
And they would say, 12 Hail Marys.
Were you a virgin?
Yeah, I was.
Oh, and
I was a virgin for a long time.
And then you came out non-virgin after the confession. No, it was a terrible thing. I think we've both had terrible experiences with the religion, and I don't.
But there were some good priests that I thought, they were clearly good people.
Oh yeah, look, there were, I'm sure there were decent people in the Nazi Party. They couldn't have all been evil. People can use the same argument. They say, there's a lovely lovely Nazi captain there. They did, used to give me bread and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Now, there's a job that you had.
Oh yeah. This is the job reminiscing.
Yeah, this is
podcast.
job reminiscing. Because for me, little did I know when I was a 12-year-old kid, right? I saw The Amazing Jonathan for the first time. And
if you don't know The Amazing Jonathan, YouTube him. He was at his peak. He was probably one of the funniest people in the world.
Yeah. He would destroy on stage, and in fact, that's how you and I met.
That's right.
Was back. I was 14 years old at the time.
Yeah.
And it was at the Enmore Theatre.
I was supporting him.
And you were opening for The Amazing Jonathan on his big national theatre tour.
Yeah.
And I saw you for the first time, and I was blown away by your performance. I thought, man, this guy's incredible.
Really?
Yeah. And I remember we met backstage at the Enmore just briefly, and I said hi and what have you, and then you did the big national tour, and then I got to meet you again at DYRSL, and then we all hung out that night, and then later on that week I went out, and I was then 15 at that time.
Yeah.
And we were going out to the Comedy Store with Jonathan after the gigs that you were doing with him.
It's addictive, man. Once you're around that energy, it's really addictive. You got to go, I want more of this.
Yeah.
This is fun.
Yeah.
Much more fun than, other previous jobs that I've had.
Sure. It is. It is just something about, for me as a kid, being around the comedy world, and and watching guys like yourself and Anthony Murr and Gary Eck, when you guys did all Aussies Are Boofta shows at the Harold Park, and Bound and Gagged and Hoot, and I would just go every chance. I must have seen the All Aussies Are Boofta in those shows over 30 times. So
if you're wondering what the title is, it came from a bit of graffiti. Yeah, have I told you this?
Yeah, you told me. Refresh
I was
my
in
memory.
people misread the title. They thought it was homophobic or whatever, but it wasn't at all. It came from a bit of graffiti at a petrol station in Surrey Hills, where this guy painted on the toilet doors in big letters, "I hate wogs." And this other guy must have come in and seen this and thought, I'll get this guy. And he wrote in tiny writing, in pencil, "All Aussie are Boofta." Bofta. Boofta. All of them are Boofta. That's fantastic. I thought it was a great name for the show, but people, what's this about?
No, that was great. I remember seeing the posters all over Sydney of you guys with that title, "All Aussies Are Boofta."
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
And the show is hilarious. You guys did sketch comedy in the show.
Yeah, we got on
and
really
you
well.
Stand up
and back then you didn't do it for the money because there was none. You did it because it was fun to watch it work. When you worked on something and then you go, "Oh wow, this is," and something, some things wouldn't work, and then you do the slightest little turn or a pause here and there, and suddenly it went from getting silence to applause.
It is interesting that the fragility of a joke.
Yeah.
And also
It's a science. It's like music as well. It's if you're playing guitar, for example, and you leave a note just a second too long, it'll put the whole thing out of tune. It's the same thing, and you learn that. It takes you a while to learn that, and that was a huge learning experience. We got ripped off badly.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
from the Harold Park Hotel.
Yeah, we'd fill the room, and we'd end up with like $10.
Really?
I go, "How did that happen?" And he'd go, "Well, let me just show you."
I remember on my birthday, my mum said, "Where do you want to go for your birthday?" And I said to go and see the guys at Harold Park.
Yeah.
So I brought along like 20 schoolmates, and we all came along and saw that show there. And they'd never seen live stand-up before, and they were blown away.
As well. No, that was fun. That was a fun room too.
It was great.
Smart crowd.
And just up the road from here was the Comedy Store. And I remember I would always go as like a 15, 16-year-old, and they'd throw me out for being underage, and you would then sneak me in through the side entrance to watch all the shows.
This is sounding more sus. I hung around underage boys and snuck them in round the back.
And you'd give me a lift home.
And I'd give him a lift home.
Because I remember I was walking towards the bus stop once, and you just called out and you're like, "Joel, what are you doing?" I'm going, "Get in the bus." You go, "Come on, I'll give you a lift home." But you're always so nice. You're a really really nice guy.
Totally platonic.
Totally platonic.
Let's make that clear right now, right here.
Nothing strange.
Because that's the thing these days. You say, an older man is hanging out with a young boy.
Yeah.
Suddenly they think the worst.
Yes.
But back then it was.
But back then you were what, in your 20s anyway?
I was 23 back then, and people were less suspicious of each other.
Yeah.
But
that's where I could just, and also for me, like I'll jump on the bus and make my way out to Petersham. And my mum was fine with that. But
there was nothing better than seeing someone of any age just talking comedy.
Yeah.
Basically they understand your passion and your obsession, and you understand theirs.
Yeah.
And it's like a it's like a club. It's
Yeah,
a secret society.
It is.
And there's nothing like it.
But it's almost going into battle. You're like, what it's like to be in the trenches.
Yeah.
You know what so there's this kind of understanding that each person, each comedian has.
When people see comedians and all they talk about is comedy for hours, they go, "You people are not well," and they're probably right. They're probably not well, mentally. But it is you do. It's the same as religion. When people believe in something and everyone is passionate about the same thing. That's the power of that.
Sure.
But this is actually real.
But there's other people that have people that collect stamps, or people that, and they have stamp conventions. Or I remember we were on tour in Frankston down in Victoria, and it had the bottle convention.
Yes.
And so people
Well, these people, you look at these people and you think, their parents should have used contraception, because then we wouldn't have bottle conventions. No, I'm being judgmental now, because that's what people would say about us.
Yeah, but in comedy. Well, but comedy, though, I think it's a little bit broader than bottles.
Just depends what night you see me. Some nights people watch me and go, "I wish I had a bottle instead to look at." No, it's whatever unites people that's important.
But for me as a kid coming there to the Comedy Store, knowing that's the job that I wanted to do
Yeah.
when I grew up. And so for me, it was like sort of almost like an apprenticeship, you know, being
Yeah.
able to, you know, come and see you perform so much when I was a
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and being able, and seeing everyone, you know, like Carl Barron was on there, Kitty Flanagan,
Yeah, but
you know, Anthony Murr.
all those
and-
people you mentioned have had their apprenticeship by watching people and having terrible nights and learning the hard way. You know,
Yeah.
I remember Anthony. Anthony Murr is probably one of the best
Yeah.
naturally gifted comedians that
Hilarious.
I've ever.
And I remember the first time seeing him at the store actually.
Yeah.
And when he'd come out and doesn't say a word for the first couple minutes.
He was brilliant. He was brilliant, and
Yeah.
no one listening or watching this will know who the hell he is
Yeah,
unless
unfortunately.
he's listening.
Yeah.
He knows who
But,
he
but
is.
yeah, but Anthony, yeah, he was one of the rarities.
Yeah, but I like, you know, he was great. But I remember one night, I'm talking about learning and doing your apprenticeship the hard way. And there's no easy way. You just got to die on stage. You got to have people try and punch you out or chase you.
Yes. Yeah.
And we were there, me and Gary and Anthony, and we were in Forbes, New South Wales.
Yeah, I've been to Forbes.
And he had this joke. I'm not sure exactly how the wording was, but something like, you know, the English have they invent all these sports, but they're not good at any of them. Why don't they invent a sport that they're good at, like, you know, how to kill an indigenous person within 100 meters, something along those lines.
Yeah, it's
Words
a
to
good
that
premise.
effect.
Yeah.
And he was killing up until he said that, and then
Ooh,
it was like,
too close to home.
man, it was like there was the audience were hit with a silencer,
Really?
you know, or there was like glass
Where
between
they just
him
turned
and
in
they
unison.
just went silent. They went from like huge laughs and applause to, and then everything he did, everything he did after that got silent.
Let me guess, there were two people that were laughing their heads off.
Me and Gary,
And Gary, yeah.
we were laughing. There's nothing
Yeah,
funnier
yeah.
than
Yes.
watching a comedian struggle and die in the ass,
Yes.
especially if they're good.
Yes.
It's not as
Yeah.
funny if they're bad, you know.
And especially when you know the material that they're doing
Oh,
usually
man,
works,
usually
and you're
works.
watching.
Man, I was sitting on the side of the stage watching him, and you can see the sweat just pouring off his forehead, and he's just like, you know, he's going through the motions, but
Yeah.
inside his head, you know, he's thinking, oh, this is fucked. I'm
done.
finished.
I'm done."
I'm done here.
The sad
I'll
thing
do
is
my
he-
time to get paid, and then I'll wrap it up.
And he would have had to wait because was he the last one on? Or
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It was the last one on.
Yeah. So that was it. That was the
He
end
was
of
the
show.
headliner, man. He was
Oh,
killing.
wow.
He was killing, and I even turned to him to Gary, and I go, man, he's having a blinder.
Yeah.
Until he said that joke,
No.
and they went, nah,
Yeah.
not funny.
Yeah.
And everything you say after that is not funny,
Wow.
and we don't like you.
Wow.
And man, that was a hard lesson. It was so unexpected. Yeah.
That's it is interesting when you're watching a good comic, and especially someone that you know up there, and they're taking it on stage.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that brings me true joy.
Yeah.
To watch some guy just fuck up big time.
Anthony was telling me once about
Uh-oh.
a time that he was with
Uh-oh.
you.
Here we go.
And it was at a function for Egyptian doctors,
Oh,
and
yeah,
Anthony
yeah.
went on first and had a really good spot, and then you went on and you were doing real well until
Yes.
you started talking about Mubarak, I believe.
Yes, this
is it-
was
what-
this was basically a room full of wankers.
Right.
I'm not just saying that because it didn't go well for me. Well, it probably is the reason I'm very bitter and twisted. But these were really wealthy doctors, right, from the Egyptian community,
Yeah.
and they happened to have the Egyptian ambassador in the room
Okay.
in this function. He was the guest of honor, and it was really elaborate and had like ice sculptures. Ice sculptures is a big giveaway.
Yeah.
If you have ice sculptures,
You're in the big league.
there's money. Yeah. Ice cubes in a
Esky?
not so
No.
good. Yeah. I was looking for that word. I couldn't find it. Thank you. But so Anthony gets up, and I asked him to support me, you know, not thinking that. And he got really dressed, corporate, you know,
Yeah.
wore the suit, didn't swear.
Professional.
They loved him. They
Yeah.
loved him. I
Yeah.
said, I'm going to have to work hard here.
Yeah.
And I got up and I was doing okay, you know, and then suddenly I thought I was being clever. I had this routine about the then President Mubarak, who was a dictator and a terrible man, and he had people tortured. anyone who would just, if his soup was cold, he'd have people tortured, And but it was a terrible sort of, and that's why a lot of the people in the room immigrated to Australia because of this regime that, that was frightening. They can just arrest you at any time, and we have members of our family. A young guy went missing, never to be seen again. Yeah, he was a university student who the president was there to give a speech, and then he said, "Are there any questions?" And this young guy was studying law. He was from my mum's family. And he said, "Yeah, I just got a question. Is it true that the people around you make you feel more important than you actually are?" That was the question. He's 18 or 19, it's sort of an innocent question. And he sat down, didn't answer him. And the next day, that kid just disappeared.
Really?
Forever. Never to be seen.
Never heard of again.
Never heard of again. His mum went crazy, and it was just... So that's the kind of regime it is,
horrible.
Right? Yeah, so I thought it'd be a great thing. I didn't know the ambassador was in the audience,
right?
Obviously. And so I got up and I had this routine written about Mubarak and how he's a terrible person and he's a dictator. I can't remember the jokes even because I've erased it from my memory because it was so traumatic. And people were just... quiet. There's 500 people in the room. It's like nothing. And then I kept going, and they started to heckle me, saying, "You should not say that. You should not say that." And they're tapping their glasses with their spoons, so I can get off.
So you got like 500 people and ding 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 ding
ding ding ding ding ding.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Usually they do that at weddings to they want the bride to kiss the groom.
Yeah.
But there was no bride or groom. There was just me, and I'm. As you know, you've known me for many years now. If I'm going down, I think, well, I'm not.
I'm going to go down in style.
I'm going to take everyone down with me.
The ship goes with me.
The ship, yeah. We're all going to die here tonight. It's a terrorist mentality, and it backfired badly because I kept going. This guy stood up. This guy was like he's the guy who's like the head of it was the Australian Arabic Doctors Association. Bunch of wankers, fucking wankers, right? This guy gets up. He goes, "You should not say that about our president." And I just snapped. Instead of apologizing, and just pulling back, which I should have done in retrospect. I said, "Sit down, you idiot. He's not your president. If he's your president, what are you doing here? Just go and live there and tell me he's your president. You know what? While your fellow Egyptians are getting tortured in damp prisons, you're sitting there tucking away into your prawn cocktail and no one's laughing." I'm like, "Oh, shit, mate." And anyway, I get off stage and it was so, you can ask Anthony, it was so quiet that I could hear my footsteps going down the steps of the podium. Just and I go and it was my cousin, my cousin's husband actually organized the gig for me. He asked for me because we were related, and I went to sit at their table and everyone just turned. They didn't even want to acknowledge me. And people were lining up to tell me off because as soon as I walked off, the ambassador and his entourage, which was about 50 people, got up and left. This is before dinner was served. Because they said, "When do you want to go?" And I said, "I want to go on early, before dinner, while they're still fresh." And so 50 of his entourage get up and leave. And then other people, because of fear,
we must follow.
We must follow because, they've all got relatives in Egypt who may be traced and killed. And
so the night was ruined, basically.
3/4 of the room left. Right before dinner was served, and it was all my doing, and people were lining up to tell me off and saying, this guy comes up because you are stupid, you are an idiot, wait, you are, you are mentally ill. And I looked at him and said, "Are you a doctor?" He goes, "Yes, as a matter of fact, I am." I said, "What should I do for that? That sounds serious." He said,
"Can you prescribe something?"
Yeah, can you prescribe something? And I remember the only thing I remember vividly about that night was looking out through the 500 people and watching Anthony in the back just piss himself.
The one person, yes.
He was doubling over with laughter. And that's what makes comedians laugh. Just the absolute agony of someone just dying. Because they know what that's like. I took it to a whole new level that night. And man...
Did you get paid for the gig?
I think I said I'll take half. And they said, "No, you won't. You'll take nothing."
Didn't like it.
And I had to write letters of apology because my family were involved.
Yeah.
And so
so it was like shame on your family, on your cousins.
And my mum was really upset, and And the guy who hired me, my cousin's husband, has not talked to me since.
Really?
This is like 25 years ago.
Wow.
Which is not a bad thing. He's an idiot. But it was a dreadful night, and it just reminded us how privileged we are, relatively speaking.
Yeah. Sure.
When we saw the guy, when you're in bushfires, when Morrison went to shake the guy's hand and you wouldn't, he goes, "You're a fuckwit, Morrison."
Yeah.
There's not many countries where you can get away with that.
Yeah.
You're a fuckwit, calling the and that's healthy. That's a good thing. But you know something. Even the bad gigs, I remember fondly now. I wish I was doing bad gigs now than not doing any gigs.
Yeah.
I
agree. Because I remember once when I had a really bad gig and I called you up.
Only once?
Well, yeah.
You with me? Go on, hell.
And I called you up and you said, it's not that bad, Joel. Even your worst gig is still better than, say, packing shelves in a warehouse somewhere.
Yeah, and it only
which you had as a job, actually.
Yes,
I did. You did work in a warehouse.
Yeah,
I remember you telling me.
That was my early job. My uncle Murad, God rest his soul, got it for me.
Yeah.
And I started on the Monday and I quit on Thursday. And he was shocked. He'd been there for 30 years or something. Like it was a government stores. It was basically like going to prison. Every morning at 6 a.m. you had to line up and you had to, this will make you feel bad about any bad gig that you've had, no matter how bad it is. You had to wake up and put these overalls on, like prison, and you had to line up to Bundy Inn. You had to put this card, like the Flintstones.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, definitely.
Like that. And it's really early. And
the punch card.
The punch card, right? And then you push this trolley. You get your day's orders, the whole day's orders, and you go in and you push this trolley, and all the orders are like, you have to know how to read the orders. Like, you go, they had everything that any government department would need, like, syringes, pencils, shovels, and the shovel thing. So the first day, I get there and the guy's explaining to me and saying, "Okay, see, this is the order. And if you see each, that's just one item. If you say PK is packet and BO is box. So the box has got like so many and everything.
I can just imagine him telling you this and you nodding your head but not hearing a word of it.
Yeah, that's right. Very Homer Simpson style. And so I wasn't listening, and I thought, man, these idiots are doing it. I'm smart. I'll handle this. And so I get there. The first order is 12 shovels, but I forgot about the whole each thing. They only wanted 12 shovels. But I thought, I see the big gigantic box, it said shovels. Okay, so then you want 12 of those. Right? So the entire morning till the afternoon, I was packing the one order, right? Just packing the big boxes of shovels, and no one was, because it's a big space, so no one even noticed. I was piling up. It looked like a tower, like the twin towers of shovels. And then the boss comes in. He goes, "What the hell's all this?" I said, "Oh, this is the first order." He goes, "First order? Mate, it's 3 p.m. You've only done one order." I said, "Yeah, the shovels." He goes, "No, look, it says each. EA is each." And he goes, "Mate, nobody in the world needs that many shovels. There will never be a situation where someone needs 200 or whatever it was.
A crate of shovels.
A crate of shovels." And then the next day I get to work and everyone's talking about me. Like, I'd walk past the lunchroom and they go, "Oh, you thought it was 12 boxes of shovels. Can you believe it?" I thought, oh my God. So I left on the Thursday.
Wow.
I got there on Thursday morning. I said, I can't cope with this.
Yeah.
I'd rather be in prison.
Yeah.
Prison would actually be easier.
Sure.
In my opinion. But my uncle was devastated. "How could you? I got you this job. I pulled strings for you." I think there's a lot of positives that are going to come out of this.
Out of the coronavirus lockdown.
Yeah, life was just moving so fast and we were heading towards destruction anyway. I think now it's time to kind of sit back and
reflect a little
and things have slowed down.
Do you really think people are going to change, or do you think... Because I hope, I agree with you, I'm in hope of that, but there's a part of me that thinks You know, people will just get back into the old ways.
Money, money, money.
Yeah.
If you no, look, I think it depends on how long it goes for. If it goes for long enough that the air gets really clean and the wildlife come back and
Well, already you see Los Angeles, it's phenomenal.
already,
Yeah.
yeah. So they know this is a good sort of experience in a way because it's shown people what is possible.
Yes.
Look, we don't have to live in smog and disease and die and and the gangs, the crime's kind of down.
I was talking to a friend of mine who's a cop, and he was saying, yeah, there's minimal crime.
Yeah. There's rules for the cribs. You say if you're going to shoot someone, shoot him like. Make sure you're 1.5 meters.
Yeah.
So you got to get a good gun that reaches. Don't catch corona. If you don't catch corona, you can get killed.
Yeah, you can
but
still.
You still get machine gunned.
Yeah.
That could be bad for you. Just as bad as corona.
That is. That is. It's just as lethal.
No, but you see, it's given the world a chance to pause and to
reflect a little.
Yeah, I think that was unlikely to happen.
Yeah,
'cause it was just moving. Everything you just go into this routine of get to work, work, consume, die.
Yes,
that's the whole premise. That's for us. It's, people. I don't know. We're going to finish on a very
somber,
depressing.
Somber.
Somber's better than depressing.
Yeah, somber's more. There's more of a sense of reflection.
Yes,
in being somber.
Yes.
In being depressed is
just go away. Shut up about your depression. Everyone's depressed. No, and people have handled it quite well in this country.
In Australia,
I think we've shown a sophistication that other countries have not. I'm very proud.
Yeah. Well, I'm proud to be doing this podcast with you, Mr.
I'm proud.
Saleh.
Well, it's, I looked at my diary.
Yes.
And I was free till 2030.
So you figured, why not?
I'll fit you in.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh. No, it's actually good to, and it's good to keep your mind occupied and do things that you never had time to do before.
Yeah.
Like I'm painting now. I'm painting the house.
Yeah, you're still painting. You were painting
I'm not good
a
at
few
it.
weeks ago.
Yeah, because I had to fix the damage that I...
Oh, right.
Yeah, I knocked the wall. Yeah, long story, but I shouldn't be doing DIY. In the DIY, the D stands for dickhead.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Saleh, this has been fun.
Thank you. It's good. It's always good to chat. And even if no one listens, we've actually socialized.
We have.
We've kept our distance. We've been sensible and we've hand sanitized and yeah. That's all right then. We probably should have finished there before.
I like it how we can never seem to find an out. We just keep on talking.
There's probably been a few.
Yeah, there's been
already,
a few outs.
Yeah.
We'll find one in there.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, this could be it.
This could be the out.
This could be the out.
Or this here could be the out. This one.
This one? I thought the one before could be the out.
Oh, no. Well,
what about this one?
This one, yeah. We're out. After 1, 2, 3, we'll be out. Ready?
Okay.
1, 2, 3. We're out.